Welcome
Hello.
to another amazing conference callback webinar. The callback webinars, in case you don't know, when we have the CalSPER conference each year, we take a look at the feedback and ratings for each session. And we usually have 7 to 8 sessions going at any given time. So most people are going to be missing sessions that they do really, really want to see. So this callback program allows us to bring back the highest rated sessions from the conference and share them with everybody so they get to see them again. I'm super excited because this is one that I really wanted to try to catch at the conference, but as you might imagine, as your executive director here at CalSPRED, it was a little busy. So I get to just sit back and enjoy this with the rest of you today. Before we get started, I am going to do what I usually do for our speakers, which is embarrass them a little bit. So guys, hold on just one more minute while we brag about how talented you are. We have two folks with us. I'll start with Peter, an Emmy nominated. You guys know this? Emmy nominated videographer here. Peter Camacho is fueled by a passion for storytelling through filmmaking, video production, and strategic communication. He thrives on transforming ideas into powerful narratives that captivate audiences and spark attention. His work isn't just about telling stories, it's about creating experiences that leave a lasting impression. I love that description of you, Peter, because there's so many times that people see the folks in our profession as either strategic or tacticians. And it's really good to see you emphasizing that both are involved when it comes to doing great storytelling. And Marc Galang is a Philippine-born undocumented immigrant and DACA recipient. Love that you threw that in there, Marc. We love having you here. With over 10 years experience in education PR, Marc attended UC Santa Barbara and San Bernardino Valley College, where he found his passion for film production and public education. He previously served as a multimedia production technician for Riverside Unified School District, and now as a multimedia specialist for Corona Norco Unified School District. He's a two-time Emmy-nominated producer, director, an award-winning filmmaker, and a music video director. So you guys are in for an amazing treat today. I can't wait. Without further ado, please, Marc, Peter, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you, Trinette, for the kind words and introducing us. Hello, everybody. How you all doing today? So today, we're hoping to kind of just share with you some of our processes on how we capture stories around here at Corona Narco. And especially now more than ever, it's very important to capture those, stories that champion our diversity, equity, and inclusion. Actually, one of the projects I'm working on right now is about our HVAC program for one of our continuation schools that kind of really highlights some of the things happening, not just for like our best kids, but the kids that really need a little bit of something that kind of inspire them to even not college, but careers as well. So let's go to the next slide. A little bit about what we're doing today. We're going to be going over some of our highlights for who we are as a school district, our team, and a little bit about me and Peter and some storytelling. You want to go over that, Peter?
So, oh, sorry. Let me get the. Yeah, so basically, like, where do we find those stories, and then how do we tell those stories? Also, we'll get into more of our filming techniques, and then we'll get into like gear recommendations, and we'll cover like a variety of situations where it's, if you have X amount of budget or you have little to no budget, we're going to cover both so you guys can kind of work with what you have. And then we are going to also kind of like give you tips and tricks on how to interview like a journalist. And then kind of like building that team, or if you're a one-man team, that will help capture these stories.
And then a little bit at the end, we'll kind of go over how to enter for the Emmys if that's something that you guys aspire to do, and a little bit about the competition when you're up at that stage. Second. Go. So a little bit about Corona Norco Unified School District. This is actually a little bit out of date. We reviewed a little bit of our student attendance, or not attendance, but volume this year, and I think we dropped to the 8th largest district in California at just shy of 50,000. And we still have ballpark 53 schools, with probably a few more schools being added at some point. It goes about 150 square miles across 3 different cities and 1 unincorporated area, Temescal Valley, which is like a bedroom community for the OC, for Orange County, Anaheim, Santa Ana, those areas. Let's see. So this is our team. We have about 9 people currently. We have 3 multimedia specialists, a public relations specialist. We have our manager, director, chief of communications, and our communications assistant that helps us kind of adjust everything and keep us on track. And we produce about 100 videos yearly. It kind of varies from like Instagram stories, some internal content for like our new teachers, new classifieds, a lot of training materials, and then obviously some of the stuff that goes out on social media that kind of helps with our public relations.
And we do understand that we are uniquely positioned because we know that not many, whether it's districts or organizations, have a communications team in the size that we do. So like Marc was saying, it does allow us to kind of, it allows more like broader coverage and really highlighting those diverse stories throughout our large district.
And honestly, even at this level, this many people, it still becomes a struggle, especially having 53 schools with various interests like our VAPA programs, our sports, our career technical education. It's a struggle to try and cover like everything. And we try to like really be selective. So that's kind of what we'll go on to later on, how we find those stories and how we determine what stories get made, essentially. So a little bit about me and Peter. As Trinette mentioned earlier, I was born in the Philippines and I moved here when I was about 12, give or take. And I've done a lot, just capturing stories around and then working with my community, making those music videos with like local rappers, local bands, and all those kinds of things. And then I also do some short films, do like a little short film festival circuit kind of type situation.
And I am Peter Camacho. So I've actually spent the last 14 plus years working in education. I started as a paraeducator in the classroom and then kind of made my way up the ladder to where now I am a multimedia specialist. I love just filmmaking. I love the collaboration piece of it. And storytelling is one of the best things I get to do on a daily basis. And I am fortunate to be part of an amazing team that kind of, or that really fuels my creativity and pushes me to innovate. And when I'm not behind the camera or editing or in the editing suite, aka my desk, I'm hanging out at home with my incredible spouse and our crazy little French bulldog named Winston, finding new ways to tell stories and connect. And I'm actually going to be starting my master's in strategic communication program beginning January of 2026.
Awesome. Yeah, Peter actually, his career is quite unique where he got to become part of like almost every step from like the classroom to like a full school site situation and then to the district. So he had like that kind of transition to seeing like the full picture. So it gives them a little bit of a very good opportunity to kind of tell those stories from inside and then the school level and then eventually us as a district office, kind of like those kind of big rocks, big goals that we want to share to our community or to just like the larger like state or national level. So the next one, a little bit about storytelling. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. This is a nice little quote from Maya Angelou. And as you can see, some of these selects that we got on the little repeating banner that we've put in this video kind of shows a little bit of the highlights of some of the things we have at our school district over here in Corona Norco. And I think we have that opportunity as a communications office for the school district where we get to dip our toes a little bit in everything. We get to hear about some of those things that we are working on a district level, some of those things that the school sites are doing, some of those amazing stories that we hear about that happen on a daily basis, even if it's like a negative story coming off from like a school site, like say we had a student go missing, but then it kind of develops into the story where one of our security guards, vigilant eye, was able to locate him, and we get to highlight that amazing work our security team does to kind of keep our community together and making that school site feel like home and having that support from adults. And telling those stories without kind of that lens that prevents you from telling those stories is very useful to highlight some of the best things we have around. Peter, if you want to talk a little bit more about how we captured that story and what we used it for.
Yes, so where do we find the stories? So we rely on strong connections with district leaders, so school site administration, teachers, and classified staff to really help identify those impactful stories. One thing is our team's credibility and collaboration allows us early and consistent access to powerful, authentic narratives from within our community. And then also one of the things that we utilize is a multimedia request form. So it's easy access via district internet and email like footer. So in my email, for example, I have it, they can click on it, takes them to the form. And so it encourages submissions and kind of simplifies the story pitching. So we really streamline the whole process to make it like efficient, and that way it's easy to bring to our attention, and then keeping hot topics and historic events top of mind. So really like the stories of adversity and triumph. So we really look for those highlights, those inspiring journeys and the successes from areas like special education, adult education, really anything that shows that resilience and growth. And then also, like Marc was saying earlier, safety and security is a big one in our district. So consistently emphasizing those critical messages, such as our like see something, say something campaign, and initiatives addressing important issues like fentanyl awareness, and then also athletics. So capturing that excitement and pride around sports, whether it's like record-breaking achievements from someone or a new athletic program, we just want to really celebrate those accomplishments. And then one thing we actually recently started, we're in our second year now, is so it's DMT, it's our digital media team. So what we did was we created a club with two of our high schools where we're basically kind of showing them what we do on a daily, and they, instead of us telling their school stories, we rely on them to be the storytellers for their school site. So they are high schools, and it's nice because, say, for example, they're covering an event, they're creating photos or a highlight reel or even a graphic with Canva. They get access to their school's Instagram account and they get to post it on there. So they get that coverage as well, but it's nice because on the caption we make sure they give themselves credit. Graphic by DMT student so and so, or video by DMT student so and so. So it really shows that engagement that we have and that student partnership as well. Because honestly, what better stories? And we're not on the school site, so we don't know everything that's happening. So what better way than to have the students tell the stories that they're experiencing in their classroom or in their campus?
And a little bit of background as far as that DMT program goes, we have two school sites right now, Norco High School and Corona, and we're kind of developing and having them tell their stories to kind of help change that narrative that kind of has been built over the past few decades of what those schools are. And it's their specialty as students being like living that culture of their school that they can help navigate and redirect some of those misconceptions about their campuses. What I'm actually wearing right now is our DMT media team shirt. This is the shirt that the students get to wear. The back, you'll see a nice media thing. And with this logo, you can kind of spot our students out and about at events, and it has our social media handles on there, and people are able to kind of connect with us, comment, and reach out if they have stories that they want to pitch. And then actually, we're going through a redesign right now where we have a QR code that has um, a landing page that has all the social medias plus the Flickr account where they can get the content for free. Essentially, they can download the photos that we've taken, our students taken, and like Peter said, they'll have like bylines of like getting credited for the work that they're doing. And next page, actually, before I go to this one, this is one of Peter's stories. So you could see their district history. We've had this thing called the Legacy Award for almost 4 years now, I believe, where we essentially send out a nomination form, and then we get to highlight old retiree that has served the district for a long time. Peter, if you want to give a little bit more background about this next one.
Yeah, so this one we're highlighting an old administrator who's retired, who was really the kind of like that laid the foundation for one of our special education campuses. And we go through the whole process of like the nomination and everything, and he was the one that we got to nominate, and he was the one that overall was the one that we chose to do it. So um, I I was looking at reviewing the video. If it skips for you guys, if it's not playing as good as we wanted to, don't worry. There's going to be a QR code link to the presentation at the end, and you guys can go back and look at it if it's not playing smoothly. But take a look. And then we'll kind of talk more about how we went like our approach to telling the story.
Cool. Here we go.
There is no one in our district that has served the amount of years that John served as an administrator here, and the impact that he's had not only on Victor's Bowers but the Corona Norco community.
My dad spent a lifetime enriching and empowering those students in the school and the community, and it wasn't in the pursuit of title or money or pay or legacy, but it was really just because it's what he felt was right and it's what he was passionate about.
A lot of people don't know this about my dad, but he graduated from law school, had an offer to go be a district attorney in LA County, but he realized that his love and his passion was with these kids.
His philosophy with the kids and teachers as well is you treat the kids as you would if it were your own child in school.
There was a sense of community there that I don't think I've ever found since. He was so supportive of parents, students, and staff. He was Santa every year.
He just will give everything he has for anybody who needs it.
Everyone really bought into the mission and really knew what they were working towards there.
We have this little joke, what would John do? What would John do, you know?
The committee has selected Mr. John Aldrin as the 2024 CNUSD Legacy Award. Congratulations, John. We are so proud of you. Thank you so much for everything that you continue to do in our community.
I really love this district. I'm really humbled by it, because I know there are a lot of people in the school district that are deserving of it. But it's flattering too that they took the time to put in a nomination. And I'm just honored by it. Never regretted taking this job. You know, sometimes it was hard, but it was rewarding to work with these children with families. I'd do it again if I had a chance. If I could live to 100, I'd come back here.
He would do it now.
Yeah.
He said, when my time comes, I want to be buried in a Bauer shirt.
I have a whole closet full of Bauer shirts, short sleeve and long sleeve, but I'm going to be buried in one. We took over Victor's Bauer is now the happiest place on earth. So we passed this to him. It was a dream job. Loved it every day. It was a wonderful day. It was 37 years of having good times.
Well, Dad, there's a lot of people here in the room who are here to celebrate you.
Congrats, Dad. It's been a long time since you sat in the office there at Bauer, and good things come to those who wait, and this is very well deserved.
John, there aren't even words to express how grateful I am for your support over the years.
Everyone in this room is better off for having known you and worked with you, and these kids are. You know, you can see the results of your work and your team's work through the lives of these children.
You have always been there in the background, and I so appreciate it.
John, I just appreciate everything you've done for me.
There's nothing better someone can do for a legacy than to improve the lives of others.
This is not just a reflection of your amazing career, but of the legacy that you leave behind and what Bauer will mean for current staff and current students and even future staff 30, 40, 50 years from now.
I appreciate your inspiration. The teacher I am today is because of you.
You're in my prayers always, both you and Melinda. Love you dearly, both of you.
I'm very proud to be married to John. He's given so much.
I hope that wasn't too choppy for you guys. If we need to skip the next ones, let us know. So that way you can just rewatch them later when we send out the link. How was that, Trinette? Is it okay on your side?
I mean, we could tell it was just slowed down a little bit, but it was so beautiful and so emotional. I didn't mind at all.
Cool, cool. Thank you. So how do we tell the story? Do you want to go over this, Peter? Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to where do we find how do we tell the story? So every story has its unique tone, whether inspiring, celebratory, urgent, or informational. And so matching the tone carefully ensures the story resonates both emotionally and authentically with the audience. So choose your storytelling style. We use various methods when doing this, so to kind of effectively deliver the stories. So documentary style, which provides depth, content, or context and emotional connection. We have our interviews and talking heads, so where it gives that personal perspective and credibility. And then we also do use a lot of like voiceovers and narration, so to guide the viewers, creating clarity and emphasis. And so really going back to like the authenticity, prioritize on authentic voice. I know today's age people are transitioning more to using AI voice, but like one of the things I think now more than ever is we need those human voices and those human connections, human stories. Like that's something just AI cannot replace. And so focus on that authentic storytelling. So by elevating voices directly involved. So for example, students share relatable, impactful personal experiences. Staff offer professional insight and authenticity from the front line. And then we have our parents and community members. So providing that genuine, heartfelt perspectives. And then ensuring the right tone, style, and voice um, brings every story to life. So creating deeper connections within the community. And then often filmmakers say, quote, don't tell me, show me. But we're in the unique position where we actually get to do both. So using voice, for example, using the voice of a student and showing them exactly what whatever program we're highlighting is.
Yeah, and the quote underneath there, you see cinema is what's in the frame, is a matter of what's in the frame and what's out. And I think it's super important to capture all the details, as much detail as we can, of the event, of the person, of the story, like even like the nitty-gritty, like little things that you wouldn't think about if you see it there. We try to like get close-ups and just every little thing that we find interesting that might um add something to the story. We'll get that footage, and that's kind of one of the benefits of shooting digital today versus back then film. You're kind of limited. Now we're limited to our phone's memory or our camera's memory cards, so we have that capability, that flexibility to shoot as much as we need to. And even if it doesn't make it on the final edit, knowing that we have access to it and like putting it, nothing's worse than editing a story and be like, oh, I saw this happen, but I didn't capture it. And the event has passed and we didn't get that. But it's now more important than ever to kind of do this work to tell these stories because, as we move into this the the years moving forward, education is under attack, and just not just education, but like a lot of public institutions. And it's very important to tell those stories, even if they try to tell another story against us. There's a lot of people doing very important work that doesn't get seen very often, and we'll have people kind of telling another side of it that kind of hurts this institution of public education. And this is one of the last bastions of social mobility for kids who, like me, came from another country, didn't know how to like communicate, speak English, and eventually like get into this position to tell those stories. It's super important, and it would be a shame if we didn't like work hard to try to tell all the amazing things we have happening in education and telling those stories that matter, the things that, like Peter said, those actual voices, not AI, but actual people who are part of our community that make this, our schools, our community better. So the next video, I guess we'll just skip since it's a little choppy, is another story Peter and I shot maybe 2 years ago. You want to give it a background, Peter?
Yeah, so we actually highlighted our girls flag football. So it became a thing. It was new. They went through the whole CIF process to be recognized by him, and so we wanted to go out and highlight them as a whole. So we went out there, we highlighted all of our school sites, did interviews with the coaches, and that's actually one of the stories that got us our second nomination for an Emmy. So we're not going to show it today. It's a little choppy, but please go back and look at this. It's a great story, and again, where we're really kind of putting those students first and letting the community see what our students are doing on as a whole.
Cool. I'm gonna skip right through it. There we go. This is kind of a little bit about some of the things that we do technique-wise. You'll see one of our students there who was actually part of the, I think she graduated, but she was part of the Norco High School media team. And we like to move really quickly because, like we said earlier, we don't want to miss anything that's happening on the field or an event. So a lot of our rig is very minimalist, and that works really well for us. It allows us to be, light and mobile. We use flexible use mics. We use a lot of like small shotgun mics for just ambient audio and a lot of those little things happening. And then if we do go to interviews, we switch to like a lot of lapel mics. We use currently the Rode Video Micro and then the Video Mic Go for the lapel mics. And then sometimes we use the DJI mic 2s. We'll have a list a little bit later, actually, that if you want to purchase any of these items, they're on the next page. As far as lighting goes, we try to light everything very naturally. Whatever's in the event space or campuses, we try to get everything as visible as possible. We try to travel with like minimal lighting kits. And for the most part, we only do like lighting kits when we're doing talking heads. We don't want to have to set up lights when we're out on a school site and kind of impose ourselves more than we already are. We want to be like that fly on the wall kind of situation where we're there, they're doing their thing, and we're just capturing what's happening around them. And then if we do need to interview anybody, we try to find somewhere well lit, but in the shadow, so not like nothing is blown out. Everything is very smooth, kind of like you see here in the photo of our student. There's like the sun hitting the back of her head. That's just like a nice rim light around her that gives her separation between their mural on the building and the space behind her. So we try to do those kinds of things. And if that doesn't, like, your gear or your location doesn't allow for that, kind of just do the best with what's available to you. We do a lot of quarter orbits, slow motion, and push-ins. Quarter orbits, you just kind of like do left to right and orbit around your subject, whether it's a person, a thing, or like the event. It could be even a big group of people. Drone shots also, I do a lot of those when I just do an orbit around a location, the big building, especially when we're doing highlights of our construction. We do a lot of bonds projects. We have a Measure GG right now that's building maybe the last portion of that bond, and we do those quarter orbits of those things. And then we also do a lot of slow motion, like I mentioned earlier, especially when we're moving really fast. When you're in post production, you can slow it down a ton and it'll kind of take away some of those jitters. We tend to do 120 frames or 60 frames per second. So not only does it like stabilize the footage, but things are happening so fast, you can get more runtime of your shot than you would if you had shot it in like 24 frames per second. You can't really slow it down, it just kind of happens. And if we're able to slow it down, we can get like 2-3 seconds out of a shot that we can use as B-roll over our interviews. Push-ins, again, kind of like the quarter orbits, just like a motion that we like to use for events to introduce things and to kind of highlight some of those little things happening, especially for our CTE programs. They have a lot of amazing equipment and we want to showcase them working on the gear, and we do push-ins and quarter orbits around those things. For the next one, gear doesn't matter, but it does help. The first video we did that got nominated for an Emmy was a sit-down interview. There's almost no B-roll. It was just an interview with a dad who was also one of our teachers who had lost his son to fentanyl poisoning. And a lot of the footage we had from that is just the interview with him telling us the story about who Eli was, who his aspirations, but also we just kind of implemented a lot of the photos, archival photos they had as a family. And it was shot with like some of the oldest cameras we had from like 2015, and we submitted that in 2021. And yeah, that still was nominated. And some of the people that we are in competition against, like the TV stations, they use their iPhones. They use whatever they have to capture the videos, like especially when there's like investigative things. They use whatever they have access to, and it doesn't look the best, but they still tell that story. So in that capacity, here's some of the gear recommendations we have. This is a little bit expensive for production. This is my personal camera. It's a Red Komodo X, and it's what we use for that football video. It does shoot like really high quality video and really good slow motion. But for the most part, down here in the white box is the FX3, and this is like the workhorse camera that we use. It shoots a 4K and 120 frames per second, so that gets us a ton of slow motion, and it lets us capture even like if we have dark locations. It has really good low light capabilities. And then these are the mics that we're using right now. We have the Rode Wireless Go 2s and a lapel, and that allows you to do two people interviewed at the same time simultaneously, or if you have like the interviewer and the interviewee being mic'd up, super useful. And then this is the A7R5, our photo camera. It's a more recent one. It's a few years old, but it still takes amazing photos. So for the field, I think we didn't get to show it, but for that girls flag football video, we had one camera running video, and then we had some photos selects on there. So Peter got to do this really cool effect where you hear the shutter sound and those like really fast photos coming in, and they're like really sharp. So it kind of pairs really well in the 4K timeline. And then over here we have a monopod. So we try not to bring tripods whenever we film unless we know we're doing like sit down interviews where we have the space to do so. If anything, we take a monopod, and if we think even that becomes a deterrence for us to be able to move faster, we take it out. We don't even bring it with us. The other lens we have up there is a 70-200 f2.8 and a Sigma 100-400. I think that worked really well for the football story just because of the space of a football field. And actually, did it go back? Oh no. I clicked the link, unfortunately. So if you can see on the right side there, those actually all go to B&H pages. So they're underlined so you can check out what we have equipment wise. Let me see if I can full screen this again. There we go. Yeah, you can click those and go to the B&H page if you wanted to order some of those things. Other recommendations, Peter?
Yeah, so we understand that not everyone has the budget for like these expensive cameras. And one of the things that's actually kind of interesting is when we did this presentation in person at Calspra, one of the there was a gentleman in our attendance who said he's been used to storytelling back with like those old news cameras or like over the shoulder ones. And it's like they don't use those anymore. It's like it's okay to adapt to what it is now. And if you see in the photo, like for example, we'll have news stations come to our school sites and they'll cover stuff and you'll see them with that. It's like a cage around the iPhone. They put a mic on there and that's it. That's what they use. It goes back to what Marc was saying because it keeps you quick. Like if you need to move somewhere from one position to the other, it's not limiting you. You're quick to where you need to go, and it just really helps with that mobility. So for cameras, if that's something you have in your budget, we recommend the FX3 and the FX30. Those are both really good cameras. Like Marc was saying, you have one that really thrives in low light situations. So if you know you're going to cover an event, or if it's a nighttime event or something where the lighting just isn't too great, and you're also not in the position to set up a whole lighting stage, FX3 is the way to go. And then FX30 is just a nice camera to use to really complement. So you can use two where like they call it the color science, they match. So the image is very close to each other and you won't be able to really tell the difference between the two cameras. We do have the mini video mic. So that's something you can use for if you have a camera, or that's actually something you can use for the iPhone as well. One thing I highly, highly recommend, and you'll see a slide or you'll see a video on it on the next slide, where you don't even if the video is choppy, don't worry, pay attention to the sound more than anything. But I have these are my personal, I swear I'm not affiliated with them in any way. The DJI 2 mics are fantastic. If you're going to spend money on something, or if it works within your budget, spend it on this. It's like 250 bucks. It's the best 250 bucks you'll spend because this works for both phones and also cameras. So it works with Samsungs. It comes with the adapters for Samsung, iPhone. If you're still on an iPhone that uses a Lightning connection, it's fantastic, and you'll see an example of why it's so great. But aside from, oh yeah, and then we have like a video light, a little RGB one. These are small, they're like tiny. They're about 20 bucks on Amazon. So if you need something kind of like that goes into that whole run and gun setup, that also really helps. But other stuff that we use that's not on the physical side of gear that we recommend is both Adobe Podcast and Dehancer. So these are AI powered like analog software. Dehancer is fantastic for coloring. It really helps. Like if you don't know how to color, you don't want to go through the whole stage of figuring out how to color. They make it so easy. They have like their camera profiles. You click it, it'll color your raw footage if that's how if the or your log footage, sorry, if that's how you shoot, to really kind of bring out the best in those cameras. And then podcasts we use to clean up our audio. So it's gotten a lot better. In the next slide, when we do an example of the mics, I used Adobe Podcast, their V1. They're on V2 now, and it's their AI powered like cleanup, and it sounds great. Like it's better now than it's been before, and they make it easy for you to adjust things. So I highly recommend that. It does magic with like if you don't even have a mic and you're just recording audio from a phone, it does really, really awesome stuff. So we highly recommend that. And then also those royalty-free assets would be Envato. So that's a cheaper one to use. I don't know. I don't know if we get in trouble for saying this, but one thing we highly recommend is don't use your organization email. A lot of times they try to flag you and like get you. Like for example, Marc and I are our main video editors, and we tried to sign up for one of those companies. I won't say who, and they flagged us trying to charge us as a whole district versus a comms office. And so we're like, no, because it doesn't make sense. No one else is using this. There's only two people that are using this within the whole district. And so just use your personal email, sign up for it, see if you can get it covered. Yeah, because you don't want to get flagged if they try to get you for something, especially if you're not using it. Hopefully there's no people from those sites on here. And if you are, oh well.
Yeah, just kind of like a cursory comparison of the personal account slash or versus an enterprise account. They quoted us, well, a personal account would be like $120 a year, and then they quoted us like starting for just the office like $9,000 for the year, and then every additional school like another 9,000. It was like beyond expensive just to use the service, and we're like, it's only two people using it, we don't need to sign up for everything. And yeah, it's very problematic. um
Right, so this is a test without any kind of mics. This is just your iPhone 15 Pro. It is a little windy today, so this is again without any mics, and then we're going to show you what it's like with the DJI Mic 2. All right, now this is the test with the DJI Mic 2. I did hide it under my shirt, so you can't really tell. This is without the noise cancellation feature, just the mic, and then we'll test it now with the noise cancellation feature for the wind. And then now this is with the noise canceling feature. So I don't know if it's not picking up as much wind anymore. So this again is super easy. Just click the power button, it'll turn the setting on. And then now you have a more noise canceling feature. So then it eliminates a lot of that background noise that you probably wouldn't want in your video. All right, so this is a test without any kind of mics. This is just your iPhone 15 Pro. And it is a little windy today, so this is again without any mics, and then we're gonna show you what it's like with the DJI Mic 2.
Yeah, if you guys notice there for a little bit, it gets
Yeah.
kind of robotic on the Adobe podcast one, but that was with like the no mic, and it was like aggressively windy. So it's trying to like kind of re-level some of those sounds, but the wind seems to be like, negatively impacting everything. And like this quote says, the sound and music are 50% of the entertainment in a movie. If you guys remember Star Wars, the very first ones, that movie itself wouldn't have been as iconic as it is without all the sound effects of the spaceships, of the blasters going off. Like it wouldn't sell the story. And if like the interview sounds bad, most people kind of tune out. So that's kind of like a priority. Getting good mics is super helpful to tell the story, and people will not tune out. Like even hearing the wind, it's like the most minimal thing, but it is like a bothersome issue that kind of makes people tune out from videos.
Yeah, and keep in mind for the end of that, when it was the Adobe podcast, that was again on their version 1. They're on 2 now, and it's like way better. It does a way better job. And it gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of what you want to do, which they didn't have that option before.
Oh, and for a bit of a reference, I did one on Adobe's V2, and it was an interview with a mic, but right next to a big truck. Aquarium of the Pacific stopped by one of our schools with their like truck that has a bunch of like sea life in it, and obviously they had pumps going off and the truck itself to kind of keep that system running. But I was interviewing the teacher, kind of explaining what we had today, and the AI noise reduction was amazing, and that was mic'd, so it does clear out like a ton of noise as long as you have like that clear separation of audio. So if it's mic'd and the AI can tell that it's properly mic'd, it'll be able to like screen out a lot of the noises too. So we're gonna go a little bit to AI. We've all kind of been prompted to make it part of our kind of workflow the last few years, and talking to it is very specific. So here we have a quote from iRobot, like, my responses are limited, you must ask the right questions. And it's one of my favorite movies. It's because not just with AI, but with people too. When you're doing interviews, um, kind of be wary of what people can answer and like their scope of understanding of an event or even just some of the background information. It helps asking them beforehand what they know, and you can kind of prepare your questions ahead of time on how to properly ask them those questions just so that they can answer more efficiently. So a little bit over here in how to interview like a journalist and a documentarian. Do some initial research, like I mentioned, on the topic or the person, and what do you want to get from this conversation. So kind of create those leading questions so that you can prepare properly and kind of get like the answers you want to help tell your story. Before you kind of start recording, get a casual conversation going to relax the subject and earn a little bit of trust. Don't come in too hot. It's a little scary, especially with the camera pointed at your face. You're like, "Oh, what's happening here?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't want to talk to you," kind of thing. Or if you kind of build that rapport beforehand, it'll help them kind of be more open-minded in answering your questions. Ask open-ended questions: how, what, when, where, why, and those are kind of like the staples of journalism. And conducting an interview like it's a conversation. Is this one kind of is a per person basis. Some of our videos, if you saw, people are looking straight at the camera, kind of like what we're doing now on Zoom. But some people don't like that because it seems impersonal. So try asking them questions to the side, kind of looking at you. If you have a second person doing the interview, it helps having them conversing with the person, with like another team member, and then you or someone else just recording it. So that way they have that like direct rapport and not staring down like the barrel of a lens and scaring them that way. And don't be afraid to readjust the interview as new information is learned from the conversation, kind of like um, conducting it like a conversation and reformat some of those questions you had prepared ahead of time to kind of include some of those details you just heard. Because then, if you say those details back to them, they'll be able to answer some of those things more thoroughly. And then prep interviewee with questions ahead of time if possible. If we know who we're interviewing ahead of time, we email them those questions so they have a little bit more confidence when they're coming into the interviews.
All right, so this is where AI kind of comes in. So if you're drawing a blank, harness AI to help you out. So one thing is if you're feeling stuck or kind of unsure how to start, leverage AI tools like ChatGPT. There's a bunch, Gemini, gosh, I don't even know what other ones. But Gemini, ChatGPT are the main ones to kind of spark your creativity and generate fresh ideas. One thing is to clarify your goals. So begin by clearly identifying key points you want your audience to understand, and then define exactly who your audience is. So whether it's students, parents, staff, or whoever it is in your situation, community. For example, I'm creating a video on, I don't know, public safety. My audience are my parents and community members. What are like steps I should take to making this, or just ask those specific questions, and then AI could kind of help you. This is if you're feeling stuck or you're in a position where you don't know which direction you should start in. Definitely use AI to help with that. So it can help craft those insightful audience-specific questions for you if you're going to do interviews, which really kind of helps guide your storytelling process. And then AI, again, prompts, it's more of a starting point for you. So it's helping your creative process become more efficient and impactful. And so one thing to remember is it should be your creative partner. So empowering you, not replacing you, and your unique storytelling skills.
Yeah, it helps you generate some ideas. Even if you just type in like generate me some shot ideas for a video, and it'll give you like a bunch of like shot lists that
Yeah.
you could generate, and then you'll be like, that doesn't work, that works, and then you can pick and choose. Or if you have your own ideas that you've seen or done before, that would definitely
Yeah.
do
A
better.
AI is as good as the information you give it. That's why they tell everyone to be as specific as you can. And this goes down all the way to the runtime of your video or your project. Like, hey, I'm given a 2 minute limit on a video or a 1 minute 30-second limit. What can I capture within that time frame? What are some key points that I should be addressing? And it'll really kind of help guide you and start that project for you.
Yeah, that helps a lot, especially some of the videos we create are for like board meeting reports. So having that timeline from our departments, how much time they have to just kind of squeeze in a video, helps. Next one. So this is our team. So building a team, we started small. It was just Evita. She's not on this photo. I think she might be on the next one, or the previous one actually, our chief of communications. And we started small and eventually kind of grew to 9. And that didn't take, or that wasn't overnight. It took many years and many years of delivering quality work. I think when we first got our Emmy nomination, we had maybe 4 people in the office, and then eventually we got another 5 in the team. Um, Over time, we got board support, superintendent support, and a seat on the table, and kind of asking what those departments need from us to help assist them in their work. It helps to have trackable metrics and then reporting those to our key team members, the superintendent, and the board members. And we use things like Sprout or Google Analytics to kind of keep those in check. And recently we started using Asana so that we can see all the jobs that we're doing for whoever department. So that way we can report how many things we produced for all the other departments or for social media use or for internal use. And then we celebrate those wins like the Emmys, the NSPRAs, the CalSPRAs, all those things. We have a I don't know if I could point it. It's kind of far away, but we have an awards wall in our office. So as soon as people walk in, you just see like all the awards we have in the office, and that helps gain credibility for our team. And constantly reviewing our shortcomings to facilitate growth. We didn't get here to 19 members that quick, and that's because we didn't realize what we were missing, and kind of those constraints we were coming down, only having 4 people in our team. We were unable to accommodate certain requests because we didn't have that many people, and the school year is only so long, and we're doing so many things, especially with 53 schools across like 4 service areas. It's 150 square miles is a lot to cover, and yeah, and understanding those things that can help kind of grow your team, grow your capabilities as a team too. Our first nomination, like I mentioned earlier, we didn't win. They let us borrow an Emmy for the photo. It was 2022. It was for our fentanyl campaign. We have here our board member. He's since retired, but he's still a member of the community and still helps with our safety and security department. He is a physician's assistant. So he helps with like safety, especially for like the fentanyl awareness and the concussion stuff at our football trainings. This is our old superintendent, Dr. Sam Rosa. That's Peter and I. Our old chief of staff, our current chief, and the parent and teacher of the student that had passed, and then board member and our old ed services assistant superintendent. So, yeah, this is the big one. This is the competition we have, at least for our very specific service area. We compete under Pacific Southwest, which includes San Diego, Riverside County, Palm Springs, and for some reason, Las Vegas. So there are a very big competition. They have like some of the big teams that win there. Even Formula One, since they've added the race in Las Vegas, they were there at the event at the Emmys, and I think their T-Mobile campaign with F1 and the Strip and all the hotels, they won for their like visual effects designs. We have NBC, Telemundo is a big presence there, and obviously the Padres, Raiders, and the Vegas Knights. And the San Diego Tribune they were the ones we lost to. They had an amazing story about a culinary arts program in San Diego that kind of blended Mexican cuisine and kind of like elevated it to this almost kind of Michelin star kind of experience. And it was a school. It wasn't even like a restaurant. It was really impressive story to tell. And this is how you enter. Emmyexpress.com if you guys want to kind of bookmark that link. And then that map on the right shows all of your service areas. Yeah, there's many regions, especially in California. I think there's like the LA region and then the NorCal. But right now, yeah, I don't know why we're up against Las Vegas. Look at that, San Diego. Our map is weird. But yeah, when you enter there on the Emmy Express, you get to create your account, and each member of the team has to create an account to compete, because then you can add them as team members, like listing what they did for that project, because Emmys aren't like a organization type competition. It's a, what do you call it? Like a craft thing where it's the person who did the work that can be entered for the Emmy. And then I think as an office, you can, if you win, you can request like a, what do you call it? Not an honorary, but like a display version of the Emmy. So questions?
Any questions? Almost, look at that, right on time. Almost.
Yes, almost. Pretty close.
Also, again, you guys will have access to this. We'll, on the next slide, we'll have a QR code. One thing Mark and I did that wasn't on the original presentation was we actually added 2 recent videos that we did, and it'll be at the very end of the thank you. So when you, if you want to go back and look at those, please do. That way you guys can kind of see some of the latest storytelling we've done, and there's some really good work there. But yeah, if anyone has questions, please email me, Mark. We'll answer. We're always open to questions, and we'll
We
help
have
out.
one right now from Kelly, category for the Emmy.
Oh, education.
1 second, I had an alarm going off. As far as oh yeah, thank you, Trinette. I forgot to send the cheat sheet, or when to drop that in. So we have a cheat sheet there that just has some settings. We give that to our digital media team students as well, just to give heads up on the settings on how to get like some of the best images, even like some fun settings like slow shutter shots. Feel free to download that. As far as the Emmy categories, we do, it's news and then dash public, or dash education, and then there's also news dash what's that called? Is it diversity, equity and inclusion? Yeah, they have a very specific category for that, but we've only been nominated for education. But also, like I mentioned earlier, it is a craft type competition, so you can there's like categories submitting just for editing, for directing, for color, for graphics, even for audio design, if that's something you want to submit. If there's like a project you thought sounded amazing that had like really good like dynamics audio wise, you can submit it in that specific category. And the only thing is they have a really weird rule about double dipping, so I don't know if you can submit it in the news category and then submit it again for directing or for audio or those kinds of things. I think you can only submit it in one.
Great job, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
Also, real quick, we do, Carlos, we do shoot in S-Log. If you're whatever you're working on, if it requires a quick turnaround, maybe just do it in like S-Cinetone or in a standard profile. But if we have a little more time with our edits, we do S-Log. Nancy, if you got our email, please email us. Let us know if you have a budget that you're working with, and then we can kind of guide you once you kind of give us that information, because we try to work with what you have in terms of budget.
Yeah.
So yeah, please get scan that QR code. Watch those videos that are at the end of this. It's after these slides. We put some new ones for you guys. Please check them out. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to either Mark and I, and we'll help with whatever you guys need.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. I was blown away by all of this, and I cannot wait to get that presentation and get to watch the videos that you also included. Keep doing amazing work. I love that you are out there telling the stories that don't always get told and highlighting all of our students, not just like you said, the ones that are getting the best grades or going off to college or all of the things that normally get highlighted. I love that you are looking for all of the alternative stories that are out there and representing all of our kids. We're going a little bit over, but I'm going to share a few things in the chat for everyone. There are some upcoming events from CalSpray I want to make sure that you know about, especially some deadlines that are coming up between now and the end of the month. On the 24th, which is 2 days away. If you're in the San Diego area, there is a lunch and learn. And I heard a rumor, or actually it's in our membership system, that the amazing Josue Reina will be presenting at that. So it is definitely one that you want to check out. Also, the 26th, which is, yes, a Sunday, is the last day to submit for our awards of excellence. So if you want an award wall like Marc and Peter, this is your chance to do that. Make sure that you submit the good work that you are doing for your school communities. On the 27th, we have the Bay Area regional event. I hear from Kelly, it's going to be amazing. They've got a crisis comms expert, and you know, we can never get enough crisis comms preparation in this field for sure. On the 31st, we have Happy Halloween office hours. You can dress up if you want, but we'll just be hanging out and chatting about anything that you need. It is always a very casual gathering. You can come for as little or as much time as you want. Bring a question, talk about an idea that you have. We're like AI, but better. Because we give you more authentic conversation about what is going on in your world. Also on the 31st is the last day to register for the conference this year in San Jose in March. The price goes up by $200, you guys. So make sure that you get those registrations in. I cannot wait to see you all here. And if you go on to that link, that's to register. But if you go onto the calspread.org website on the conference link, we now have our session topics, our tracks that are being covered. We have the preliminary schedule, and we also have a sheet on who should attend. So if you need to talk to your leadership about why you need to be there this year at CalSpra, we have all the ammunition that you need at calspra.org. Thank you again, guys. That was fantastic. I've been looking forward to it ever since you presented in San Diego. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you, everyone, for giving us your time. We appreciate each and every one of you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It was a pleasure to share our story again and our processes. So thank you for having us. And it was a wonderful event. And hopefully we'll see you guys at the next one.
Yeah, if we go to the next house run and you guys recognize us, come up to us and say hi, please. We like meeting new people and everyone.
I love it. Just because you won Emmys doesn't mean that you're going to turn your back on all us little people.
Yeah, we're cool. I promise. I swear.
I love it. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.
We're cool.